Welcome to Viva La Visionary, the podcast that celebrates the innovative ideas and mindsets of entrepreneurs and visionaries. Join your host, Coach Bob Schittefeld, as he dives into inspiring stories and practical insights from trailblazers who are changing the game. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned leader, this show is your source for motivation and creativity. Let's embark on this exciting journey together.
Hi there, Coach Bob here, host of Viva La Visionary, a podcast to, for, and about visionaries, and excited to share today with David Meyer. David, how are you today? Awesome. Well, you usually are, right? Love your attitude, wisdom, and humor. I love it. So, first question, when did you realize you were a visionary? Last week, when you were 2, still figuring it out? No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't know there was a term for it.
True, yeah.
So until then, but I think I've always had ideas, like business ideas, or
Right.
hey, let's do this, or hey, it's just like, I don't know if it's a beginner's mind or a curiosity. Just I'll look at things a little differently. Maybe it's mental illness, undiagnosed. I don't know.
I'm right there with you.
But it's just like, I just ask why a lot. And
Right.
there's just been a handful of times in my life, my early career, where I was like, well, this could be a thing. So I've had probably 2 or 3 not huge failures, because I didn't invest a lot of money, but I mean, a failure is a failure with different ideas. Let's do this. I'm going to try this.
Right.
The countdown clock to the millennium that I was trying to sell to Anheuser-Busch in 1997.
Right.
You know, and then it could be repurposed for St. Patrick's Day and whatever. And then I was going to, so I had a prototype for that. This was in the late 90s, putting ads on ATMs. Tried that and putting ads on the ATM receipt. That was when the old green screen, please wait while your transaction is being processed. And then I created I bought my car, and it has an owner's manual, and it's like you drive your car off the lot, and it depreciates. And then I bought a house, and I didn't get an owner's manual, and so I created one, because it's supposed to be an asset that appreciates.
Right.
And I went in my basement, and I didn't know the difference between the water heater and the furnace.
Right.
Which one's which? It took me a minute. I figured it out. So I created a marketing plan and a leave behind for realtors and mortgage companies. I had moderate success with that. So I've always had stuff like that.
Right. Well, and it's similar to you, is I've always thought different, and literally, Gino was my implementer 22 years ago, and he helped me to realize, I'm a terrible business owner. I shouldn't be doing this. What's my value? And, I always knew I could sell. But he's like, well, no, you're a visionary. I'm like, okay, what the fuck is that? And so it was basically, and he helped me to realize that process and structure does work if it's around what matters most and who matters most, and that I can be the visionary within that. And that was just a huge breakthrough for me. So yeah, I didn't know it as a term, and then even in the book Traction, that we chase squirrels, that came from one of my leadership team members. Bob's cool to work for, but he chases a lot of squirrels, and that went in there.
Yeah.
So interesting. Well, very cool.
Taking the Colby was another aha.
Yeah. What's your Colby?
I'm a 9 quick start, a 6 follow through, and then 6 fact finder, and then like follow through and implementer, either a 2 or 3 on either.
Yeah.
Level.
Yeah, I'm 3293, which, and again, I'm going to make a note here, because I do want to get some data from all the visionaries. What are our Colbys to see? Because I got to believe many of us are high quick start, and then not huge fact find and follow through. So I'm going to check that out. And then also working genius. What is the theme in the data around that? So yeah, so that's cool, interesting. So what are the roles of, what do you think, what are the roles for us as a visionary? Like, what is our role as a visionary?
So, I mean, if you're talking about working genius, is it the galvanizer?
I think that's often it, right? So we're selling and inspiring our passion.
Which I wouldn't put that as one of my working geniuses, I don't think. But I think that's probably a role of a visionary, is to paint that picture and get everyone to come along. And maybe maybe I'm a galvanizer and don't know it or don't feel like it, but I think it's coming up. It's coming up with the idea, the North Star.
Right.
It's finding the North Star that no one else is maybe looking at,
Right.
and when painting what's done look like. Here's what happens when we get to the North Star, blah blah blah. So I think that's it. Just figuring out a better way to do something like the why.
Right. Well, it's interesting because I love working with visionaries, as you know, and my job, I don't feel, is to create more visionaries. It's like you said, help people who are visionaries know they're visionary and we're not crazy, or we are, and that's kind of cool, and who cares about everyone else? But it's also helping others to know what is vision, and that is starting to look at the future, and that could be to your kids, it could be to your next generation of employees to say, what does your role look like in 2 years? And people are like, what are you talking about? And again, for us, it's like we live in that world maybe too much. And I know I've shared this with you, even with my son when he was getting ready to graduate, well, probably in 10th, 11th grade. I'm like, what do you want to do after college? He's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, if you did know, what would it be? And then he thought about it. And sure enough, then he started to think about it and then it adapted and it came true. But if he didn't know where the possibilities were, so yeah, I think it's a cool opportunity. I love it.
Yeah.
So a simple little question. Why are you on this planet, David? What are you going to be remembered for?
So, I mean, the hokey answer, since most of what I could be remembered for is probably expunged, so that's good. I mean, my thing is to leave the world better than I found it. So that's
Right.
It's kind of a Jewish thing. Tikkun olam is like to repair the world. The world's broken. We're supposed to heal it, make it better.
Right.
So that's a driving factor. But what I love doing is just helping good people with their business. Like I'm fascinated by business.
Right.
I just think I can't believe how many times I've said, "Wait, somebody does that? Like that's a thing?"
It's cool.
And then helping them tell that story. I probably I'm a frustrated writer. So the creative aspect of marketing and the fascination with business so I live at that intersection every day.
I love it. And I know a little bit about your marketing, but explain briefly, what is it that you do in the differential and how does that apply to us visionaries?
So you haven't told your story until someone else can tell it. And if visionaries are like us, pretty scattered, and we might, a little bit.
I got a book to help you with that, but sorry, go ahead.
Right, there you go. Didn't do my 3-3-1 today yet. Sorry. So it's helping people get hung up on, and then it's not what you want to say, it's what they want to hear.
Right.
So understanding, helping visionaries in this context, helping visionaries tell their story. And if it's for the business, it's understanding what their story is, simplifying it in a way. Like you could tell the story of, the Goldilocks and the Three Little Bears. Everyone can tell that story. Can everyone tell the story of the Visionary Forum? So to create it in a way that it's memorable and has emotion to it. So simplifying it, adding the human element and the emotion, and then understanding what it is your audience wants to hear. Like there are parts of my business that I could be super proud of, but
Right.
nobody cares. Like maybe
Right.
mom, but like my clients don't care about that. My employees don't care about that. My team doesn't. So it's figuring that out.
So one of the things I've heard you say, and I'm really intrigued by it, is that you bring, so for those of people who are familiar with EOS, there's a 2-page business plan called the VTO, Vision Traction Organizer. It's a living, breathing document, but it is hopefully telling our story. And how do you word it? Is that you bring the VTO to life, or how do you?
Unleash your vision.
Unleash your vision, which is basically, so a lot of times, I know for me, my VTO, it's on 8.5 by 11. It's like, eh. And so one of the things that I've learned is that visionaries, if they don't love their VTO,
it's stuck in a binder.
Right, exactly. But one of the 6 habits of a great effing visionary is to know, love, live, and promote your why, what, and how, which is the VTO, And so one story I love is I had a client, an EOS client, and he invited me. They had a golf outing and they had a suite there. And I showed up and they're like, Coach Bob, it's great. We've had clients here. We've had a few prospects. And I'm like, did you share your why, what, and how? And he looked around and I'm like, you don't fucking know your why, what, or how, do you? And he's like, well, no. And I'm like, shame on your implementer, which was me. But it's, again, so we need to know it and own it and love it. And then again, so you're helping from a marketing perspective. Are we communicating the value that the clients want, not what we're saying?
Yeah, I think, and I love EOS and the other operating systems we work with as well. I think for most of them, sales and marketing is an afterthought. It's very process driven. It's like, we're going to have this vision, we're going to create these rocks, we're going to do blah, 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 blah. But marketing doesn't come along for the ride. And it's like, once you fuel up that engine on the rocket, it makes a big difference. So it's really gratifying. Like, it's just like,
well, you're helping.
It's awesome. Right. Like, you know, it's really gratifying. Like, I've worked on big brands. I mentioned the Anheuser-Busch. So we made a great Bud Bowl commercial. Who cares? Is the world a better place because of that? No. But in my earlier career, I learned a lot from working on big brands, but now working with business owners and seeing the impact that a 30% increase in sales has on their business and their lives and their people and their customers. The people that are buying their stuff are happy they're buying it. Right. They're having a problem solved. It's really gratifying.
So what percentage, without maybe having the right data in front of us, but what percentage of entrepreneurs are founder-led sales? So if it's my company and I'm either in the sales manager seat or in the main rainmaker seat, what percentage of entrepreneur companies are founder-led sales?
Let me reference Gartner really quick. Yeah, I have no idea, but from our clients, the majority.
And that's what I would say. I'd say it's 60 or 70%. And again, I'm throwing a dart, but it's something like that. And just from all the people we know in EO and EOS and whatnot. So, and then how many of us visionaries love that role of being in the sales role?
Not many.
Yeah, I mean, I literally was a trained assassin as a person in business, and I could sell ice to Eskimos. Someone said, I'm like, well, it doesn't really help with repeat business, and I'm not really satisfied for it. But I think, again, what you can offer and our offering is kind of helping the visionary to tell their story. Like you said, I don't really love telling my own story, but I love it when other people tell it. And so and again, it all should it's an opportunity for it to come from the VTO. And if it doesn't, is the VTO real?
And everyone should be telling that same story. Like, it's the same song, same verse, maybe a different octave. Maybe there's a little ad lib going on here and there. But if you're telling that story well and succinctly, and your team is telling it, and your prospects and influencers are hearing it that way, then they can tell it. And it's one of the things that we do a lot when we start with a client. We'll have the leadership team. We definitely want sales in there. We'll pass out, pieces of paper and say, everyone write down, your single most important message. What is it that you do? And, better than anyone, whatever it is. And 100 out of 100 times, no one writes the same thing. Some of them aren't even close. And it doesn't make them uniquely off. It's what happens. So, and then like for VTO, it's like the 3 uniques. Okay. Right. Like, how are those unique benefits to your customers? What's the benefit messaging? Why? Like, we're this. Okay, who cares? We ask that a lot. Like, okay, who cares about that? And why do they care? And what's in it for them? Like, if you don't put if you're 3 unique isn't a clear benefit messaging to somebody who's going to influence your bottom line, then get another unique to work with. Right.
Yeah. Big breakthrough in my first business, and we were running on EOS, is coming up with our 3 uniques. And I thought they were boring, but it's what the clients needed. I mean, we bill on time and correctly, and our competition didn't. We are transparent, so you always know where we help people mail into Canada, so you always know where your mail is, because with our competitors, people go, oh, we don't know where it is. Like, how can you not know where the mail is? Did you post it or not? And then we were the Canadian experts. And I'm like, that's not very sexy. But when I would say those 3 simple things, they'd be like, oh, they don't do that, and they don't do that. I'm like, that's who we are. And sure enough, it was our clients that told us that, right? And so, and again, then my clients could tell other people, hey, you know what? You know where the mail is, they bill appropriately and on time, and they are the experts. And it's like, oh, wow, well, UPS isn't that, or DHL isn't that, or whatever. So it's just simple. Yeah.
One of the most powerful and simple tools that we use is voice of the customer interviews.
Right.
When a client has a budget and lets us to talk to their clients.
Right.
it's so enlightening. Like, you don't need to do that many of them. I think you probably to do enough that was statistically significant might be
Right.
cost prohibitive, but it doesn't. Once you do a few,
Yeah.
like
I mean, if you do 4 or 5, right. And then that helps us to say, yeah, that's simply what it is. Right. Yeah. Right. I
so
love it. Simple. Cool. So what's one lesson that you've learned as a visionary, either that you've done or didn't do, or who you showed up as, but something that you can say was a significant shift in the trajectory of your life, whether it be personal or professional, as a visionary?
So once when we started working on EOS, I had at that time, there were 3 partners, maybe 4. I don't know. It's just me now. And we read the book Rocket Fuel, and somehow I tested as VI. I could be a visionary or an integrator. And I don't know if I cheated on the test or if the test
You copied off your neighbor.
I don't know if the psychometricians made a valid test or not, but someone would have to actively try to be a worse integrator than I was.
I could compete with you, I think.
I was just awful.
Yeah.
I could do it. It's like that Colby thing. My follow
Right.
through is like a 2 or 3. It doesn't mean I can't follow through. It takes all my energy and makes my day suck. So once I became the visionary, or just relinquish that role, and it was just so liberating. And then
Yeah.
having an integrator, that was the big shift for me. Was having just, and I think it's between Colby having permission not to have good follow through, or not to have,
Right.
like, that gave me permission to realize, like, well, yeah, I can do that, but I'm not good at it and I don't enjoy it. And finding someone, realizing that there are people who love that.
I know. It's like, this sounds terrible.
It's like, do you want to do this? And then once you realize that they enjoy it and they're good at it, and you don't feel guilty for asking them to do it, because it's
Right.
like you don't want to ask someone to do something you wouldn't do. It's like everyone takes out the trash. Everyone does this. It's like, you get dirty is one of our core values, is get dirty.
Nice.
Well, this doesn't feel really get dirty of me to have someone manage the milestones on our rocks,
Right.
but it's like they love doing it. Like,
Right. And they're good at it. It takes me 4 hours and I hate life. They do it in an hour and they love it. I'm like, really? You like that stuff? But it's like, thank you.
yeah. So that was a big turn.
I love that. So what's one topic or issue or opportunity you're working on now as a visionary, either in your life or in business?
I think we're honing in on what we do more. We're narrowing in our focus from a business standpoint, and it's a brand first. So it's brand first marketing. So we're extremely strategic. We've realized over the years that if you just need a trade show booth, go call someone else.
Right.
If you need someone to think about what the messaging is on the trade show booth and why it matters and how it's going to work everywhere else, we're your Huckleberry. What's the brand stand for? And then the other element that I think a lot of people miss is the emotion.
Yep.
So you tap into, you're not selling to manufacturers. You're selling to the purchasing agent, or you're selling to the package designer, or whatever it is. And then that's a person,
Right.
It's
What a
like,
concept, right?
and people make their decision based on emotion. Like, every decision we make, we're just big emotional meat bags. We happen to have a brain and think logically a lot of times, or have the ability to. But that's why Spock was such an oddity on Star Trek. Everything was logical. He had no emotion. Like, he stood out because of that, and we're not like that. So it's tapping into that emotion and getting people to feel, and understanding what that is. And I think it's just really honing in on our ideal client. And figuring out the people we can help. We love working with clients that work on an operating system like EOS or scaling up, or any one of them. Because those companies, they're committed to growth. They've got clear goals. They're measuring them. They've got responsibility for them. So they've got autonomy. People have the autonomy to do their jobs, but they're also the accountability to do it. So that it's more of a psychographic fit for us, those business firmographic you would call it. Other clients, you'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be, how hard it is for us to get feedback on what's working, what's not. Every one of those companies working on some sort of operating system have some version of a scoreboard. KPIs, OKRs, whatever it is, and being able to get us that feedback. Ideally, we'll take ownership of that part of the scorecard.
Right.
As much as they let us, but at least tell us what the scorecard's saying. And being able to get...
And why are you reporting on that, right?
Right, because it's like, we want to get better. Like, we want you to be wildly successful, and getting that type of data and feedback helps us. I think marketing should be like a knife that gets sharper every time you use it.
Right.
Like, you're constantly learning. It's constantly getting better. And with companies that share that type of data with us, we're able to provide those type of results. And again, it's just way more rewarding.
Love it.
We don't charge them more. We just we just enjoy it more.
Right. No, that's awesome. Well, your passion definitely comes through. So my final question is, our rally cry is Viva La Visionary, and that's obviously the podcast as well. So what does Viva La Visionary mean to you?
I think it's just embrace change, and it's a better tomorrow. Like, it's, the status quo isn't, nobody wants the status quo for too long. Like, we change, we evolve. So just supporting the people that are making the world a better place. It's providing them the tools to make improvements in every aspect of society wherever you can. Right.
Well, cool. Well, yeah, I'm proud to be a forum member with you, always learning with you and laughing with you, which I love. And again, I think for me, Viva La Visionary is, I'm not crazy, or maybe I am, but there's other people that are crazy as well. And we make the world go round. We're not any better or worse than anyone, but that is our role, and not just in our business, but in life. And so almost everyone I've interviewed is like, ever since I was a kid, I didn't quite fit in, or I didn't feel, it's like, yeah. And so whether that's real or up here, that chatter, that to me is as we come together as visionaries and say, wow, not only do I love, again, inspired by someone else's vision, and how can I help you? It's kind of like Ben Franklin's Junto back in revolutionary days. It was him getting together with his other entrepreneurs and saying, hey, how can we help people and make our community even greater? And that's what we're doing. Yeah. All right. Well, Viva La Visionary. Anything else you'd like to share with visionaries? Either question, thought, but this has been great.
No, I think finding a peer group like the Visionary Forum and learning with other visionaries, like EO, Vistage, finding your tribe and helping each other is, and give first. It's just like, it's so rewarding, and that's what I would say. Viva the Visionary Forum.
All right. Love that. Well, I'm glad we're a part of a tribe together, and appreciate you, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah.
All right, David. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to Viva La Visionary. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found inspiration in our guest stories. If you loved what you heard, please subscribe, rate, and share the podcast with fellow dreamers and doers. Join us next time as we continue to explore the limitless possibilities of visionary thinking. Until then, keep dreaming big and taking action. Your vision matters.